The Settlers of Catan, also known as just Catan, is commonly referenced as being the first board game that brought people away from games like Monopoly and Risk to board games from Europe, or also known as Euro games. Published in 1995, this 2 to 4 player game is fairly simple. Players attempt to get to 10 points by building settlements, roads for the settlements, and by upgrading settlements into cities. Players start with 2 settlements, with 1 point each. To build new settlements, roads, and cities, players need to acquire resources, which they get each turn from their settlements on the game board and from trading with other players. The game features a large map with hexes that contain 1 of 5 resources. Each hex has a number from 2 to 12, and generate that resource when 2 dice are rolled each turn that hit that number. The game is fairly complex from other traditional board games, so why did it become so popular? Why is the Settlers of Catan still an influential game 25 years after its initial release? One major reason Catan caught on over other games is because it's a game that both adults and children can understand and enjoy. Games like Candyland and the Game of Life are more geared towards children, whereas games like Chess and Go are more likely to be enjoyed from adults. Catan has a simple theme of adventure from settling an island that everyone can understand. The game is genderless and has universal appeal to whoever is interested in learning the game. In addition, the game has strategy from placing their settlements and deciding who to trade resources with, which appeals to adults. However, the rules are understandable enough that children older than 10 can understand. Another reason people enjoy Catan is because it's less confrontational. Games like Chess and Risk are more geared to defeat opponents through direct conflict. Catan is more passive than traditional games because resources are generated randomly through dice. Players usually don't have all the resources they require, so they need to work with the other players to get what they need. The most confrontation comes from the Robber, which is a piece that allows you to steal 1 card from a player of your choice when a 7 is rolled. However, this piece gets activated randomly through the dice, so it is not a mechanic that gets abused from players' decisions. This passive confrontation allows players to be less afraid of losing to more experienced players. The introduction of luck from dice rolling is also a mechanic that makes less experienced players more likely to have a chance to win. One last aspect that could have contributed to Catan's influence is its timing. Monopoly was released in 1935. Risk was released in 1957 in France and 1959 in the US. Battleships in 1967. Axis and Allies in 1984. All the major board games in the US were getting old in 1995. It's possible that people were interested in learning something new with friendlier rules. Many people nowadays complain about Monopoly's harsh gameplay with trying to destroy other players' monopolies. Others complain about how long the game takes. Catan has neither issue, with the game not usually lasting longer than 1 hour. The Settlers of Catan is now 25 years old and is still a popular game that people are discovering to this day. Many people refer the game as a gateway game for people getting into new European board games. Although some would argue that the game is antiquated and can be replaced with newer games that do the hand management, dice rolling, negotiation mechanics better, it's undeniable the impact that the Settlers of Catan had on gaming and pop culture. The game has been sold 22 million times as in 2015 and is still widely featured in stores such as Target and Walmart. The game still gets featured in people's lists of top games and will likely stay for a long time.